This is Spruce and Studs, and welcome on in back to the channel. I am very excited to get this review started, mainly because we are getting a double helping of Blade Guard veterans to review. And these units, if you haven't heard me talk in my Ultramarines Blade Guard review, are probably my second most favorite unit, definitely my most favorite Space Marine unit that has ever been created by Games Workshop. Well, that's a lie. I think the Terminators are still pretty damn good. But regardless, these are going to be awesome. I hope that they definitely live up to my expectations. Hopefully they'll live up to your expectations. We can draw the same conclusion during this review. So I can't contain my enthusiasm. Let's jump right on in. All right, up for review first, we have the Black Templars Blade Guard veteran. So let's bust them open and see what is so cool about this guy. Opening them up. Opening. Ta-da! So as you can see here, we have the Black Templars Blade Guard veteran fully displayed for your viewing pleasure. So let's jump right on in and see what's up with this action figure. So let's take a look at the heavy bolt pistol. The heavy bolt pistol has absolutely no highlights whatsoever. This is actually a departure from what JoyToy has been producing for the past few months. Most of them have actually highlights up top here. So this heavy bolt pistol looks a little bit flat in my opinion. So if you look at the gunmetal brushing, there is some shading that's going on that you can see with the handle as well as the casing over here. And of course you have these mold lines here that, again, even the best companies such as Games Workshop cannot get rid of. So this is going to be a pretty commonplace thing to see. Let's take a look at the Master Crafted Power Sword and see what we have. Okay, so compared to the Ultramarines Blade Guard veteran swords, this is a little bit better in my opinion. The Ultramarines Blade Guard veteran sword had a pretty dark patina through and through. I mean, this is still pretty dark in of itself, but at least the highlight of the power node over here, you can see the brilliant blue that it's supposed to be flashing. It does progress onto a silver color up top here. Although I do notice that there are some painting issues here, probably where the scabbard kind of bled onto the sword itself. You're also seeing some bleed issues here with the hilt of the sword bleeding onto the blade, unfortunately. So taking a look at the iconic Storm Shield, let's see what we have over here. So the Storm Shield, again, unfortunately, uneven painting. You see some issues over here where the the brass or the color copper bled onto this lighter bone type of color. Then some painting issues over here, here. This wash kind of just bled out onto the bone colored area as well. So this is a bit uneven, unfortunately. The Ultramarines one looks a little bit better than this, I'll be honest with you. And then you get some bleed from the brass color onto the bone color again. Actually, if you take a look at these power nodes that actually power up this Storm Shield, they actually stay within the powered node lines, which is very encouraging to see. Okay, now taking a look at the two holsters over here. The two holsters are a bit flat looking over here in my opinion. There is shading right here and right here. Again, I wish that they highlighted the edges of this thing to actually make these areas pop out. And then there's also some weathering that's going on with the handles, which is good. The halo is actually painted fairly well. There is some shading and some mold lines, as you can see over here. It is pretty much standard as what you would expect from JoyToy and their production. And then we have the backpack over here. And again, the backpack does not have any highlighting whatsoever. Okay, let's take a look at our brother Space Marine and see what he is all about here. Taking a look at his helmet. And these versions do not come with a separate bare head. They only come with the helmeted versions. Painting is actually pretty good on this side. The lens red is staying within the lens area, and the black of the helmet is staying within the black area. Let's turn around and see. There's some issues over here where the red lens is bled onto the helmet itself. Again, I will say that this lens should have some more silver backing in my opinion, so it'll make the lens pop out a little bit. There may be some light shading on the chest piece. There used to be like a darker wash that they would put over here to actually make the feathers stand out a little bit. So let's take a look at the pauldron, and the common issue is where this part of the pauldron bleeds onto this part, and looks like this is no different. You do actually see the red part bleeding onto the black. At least the Black Templars insignia is crisp and very defined. Let's take a look at the other side. When we take a look at the other side, you do get the same red onto black area, but like I said, at least that the insignia over here is very, very crisp and defined with what you would want. Now moving on to the tabard, you actually do get to see some shading down here in its recesses. There's some light shading involved over here too. Looking at the scabbard, it seems like there are some bleed issues with the brass color onto the brown, a mispainting over here. I guess this is a little bit uneven painting here where you actually see the silver rather than the brass. And then looking at the back, you actually do see highlights on the pouches and stuff, which is actually fairly surprising to me that they put highlights back here. The highlights are not very good and very uneven. Some of you have commented that JoyToy may actually have a person do these highlights rather than a machine. I don't know. If it's actually a person that's doing the highlighting, I would probably say that a 6 or 7-year-old or maybe even a 4-year-old did this, because this is not very good in my opinion. The highlighting has bled all over the place, and to be honest, it looks very uneven because you have this holster here. Technically, it should be highlighted just like this, but it is not. All right, that's the in-depth look at the Black Templars Blade Guard Veteran. Let's jump in and see what the Space Wolves one has. All right, splayed out before your very eyes is the Space Wolves Blade Guard Veteran. I'll be honest with you, this is probably the best looking Blade Guard Veteran that has been produced by JoyToy. Let's see if there may be some issues that we may run into, just like with all the rest of them. Let's take a look at the plasma pistol itself. The plasma pistol is a very flat looking pistol. There is really no definition with it. As you can see here, there are no highlights whatsoever. There is some light weathering over here. There are some light bleed issues from the black of the casing onto the coils of the plasma. I really wish again that the plasma coils actually had more definition, because if you see all these plasma coils, it typically is a glowing type of look. So it's like a blue and then transitions to a light blue and then transitions almost to a white. So this does not obviously have that. All right, let's take a look at the backpack, which is far more ornate than any other rest of the backpacks. Yeah, this is garbage in my opinion. What the heck is this? This is a barely half-assed shaded portion over here. I would think that the black would be in the grooves of this, I guess, the vent area. Come on, you can do better than this. So looking at the rest of this backpack, it looks, in my opinion, very dirty. Maybe this Blade Guard Veteran has been through a lot of battles. That's why it has this very weathered look to it. I have no idea, but I can tell you that I am not too much of a fan, unfortunately. I prefer my Marines to be clean and well kept and have their power armor all polished and ready for ceremonial purposes. So let's take a look at the Marine itself. Let's see if the issues that plague the other Marines are the same. Yeah, you do have some bleed issues here with the yellow that completely covering the Space Wolves gray. Some issues down here with the, I guess this is the gray onto the yellow. Chapter symbol is clean and has no issues whatsoever. So looking at the head portion of this figure, it is again fairly dark, and the shading seems to be a little bit all over the place. I would like to see if the shading was a little bit more precise and in the crevices a little bit more. Okay, let's take a look at the pelt itself. The pelt is a very soft material, very flexible. And if you've seen all of the rest of my videos, is as flexible as the capes of the Gravis Captain as well as the Librarian. Taking a look at the painting on the cape, I would have to say, in all honesty, it looks pretty damn good. I do like the gradual transition from the light brown all the way up to the dark brown. So let's put this pelt onto the Space Marine. Just put them here and then put the backpack on, these two pegs, and then voila, you have a pretty badass looking Space Wolves Blade Guard Veteran. All right, so that's a great look at the Space Wolves Blade Guard Veteran. Let's take a look at the Imperial Fist one to see if there's any differences. All right, Sons of Rogaldorn, you have your Blade Guard Veteran model displayed out in front of you, and let's see what's up with it. Taking a look at the plasma pistol. Yeah, yikes. You got the black from the casing onto the plasma coils. I'm not going to really focus too much on this. Oh my god, what is this? Then you have the silver of the plasma pistol bleeding onto the black casing of it. Let's take a look at the storm shield. The front of it looks marginally better than the Black Templars one, as well as the Space Wolves. So looking at the lenses, yes, this is exactly what I'm talking about. As you can see, there's a silver undercoat, and they glazed over it with like a translucent blue, similar to what you would use for like a contrast paint over here. I really, really like this touch that JoyToy made. I just think that they need to put this on each and every single one of their Space Marine models. So looking at the pauldron, you have a very crisp insignia. This is fairly dirty painting over here. Very uneven painting on this pauldron as well. You got the black onto the yellow. Actually, there's some issues all over the place too. I really wish that JoyToy would have a little bit more consistency. I do apologize if I'm complaining a little bit too much on these videos. I've realized that. However, like I said, I'm here to give you unfiltered content. Nobody's paying me to do this. So I'm just letting you know this is probably what you're going to expect when you're going into buying these models. The chest piece is a nice like silver magenta kind of color, which is really cool. I like that. And then with regards to the purity seal, you have the bone color of the ribbon bleeding onto the seal itself, as you can see here and over here. So at least with JoyToy, I'll tell you a few things haven't changed. At least there is a full range of motion for these action figures. And you can have 360-degree rotation, as you saw here. You can have at least like 90-degree rotation with the elbow joints. The hands will actually spin 360 degrees. You can pop these hands out and swap them out with another one, so that would be able to better wield either a mastercrafted power sword or the storm shield. And I believe that this hand is normally used to wield the power sword and or the storm shield. So I'm going to swap this one out. So all you have to do is just pull it out. And it attaches again by this ball and socket joint over here. There you see here. Pushed in. And then we're going to have this one wield his mastercrafted power sword. As you can see, it takes a little bit of work to get in, but eventually, here we go. He is wielding his power sword. And then you pop it in like so, using a good amount of force to get it in. You have to kind of expand these pieces a little bit, unfortunately. You'll never have to worry about these storm shields falling. There you go. Then we put it back in. And there you go. That is how you get a Blade Guard veteran to wield his sword and board. And now let's move on finally to my favorite one, which is the Blood Angels Blade Guard veteran. All right, my sons of Sanguinius, this is the moment of truth. Let's see what's going on with our respective chapter's Blade Guard veteran. And the heavy bolt pistol that he is supplied with, unfortunately, again, you see some painting issues here. Got the black from the casing onto the gunmetal parts. There is a little bit of weathering that's going on with the handles, which is to be expected. Look at the storm shield. Oh, good lord. All right, so lots of bleed issues from the brass or copper portion onto the bone part of the storm shield. The back, again, as usual, the back looks pretty good compared to the rest of it. I just need the back to literally turn into the front where it looks cleaner. So Taking a look at the meat and potatoes, as I say, of my lovely Space Marine. I love the gold of the veteran units of the Blood Angels, and this has captured it perfectly well. And I love how, again, as I said before, there's gold shading underneath, and then there is a clear green coat, so it gives a nice metallic look on the lenses. So at least JoyToy got it right with this one. Looking at the chest piece itself, I'm glad they actually did highlight this area, even though the highlighting, again, is a little bit uneven on the tips. Same thing with the highlighting in the tabard area. You can see it's also uneven over here, but I'm sure if you look at it from a distance or in the display case, you won't really fixate it too much. I like how the chapter insignias are all crisp and clean. No issues over here. You do, again, have the same bleed that's plaguing all Space Marines, where this part of the pauldron bleeds onto the red. And this is unfortunately no exception to the rule. So for people who have bought JoyToy models before they started making the Warhammer 40K stuff, I'm actually curious to hear what your opinion on this stuff is. Are these painting issues that bad, or is just unfortunately consistent all the way across their product lines? I really want to know. Please comment in the comment section, because this is a bit tiring to drone on about there are painting issues. And again, I really apologize if I sound too negative on these reviews. I'm not meaning to completely diss these models. These are really beautiful looking models in the end, and I really do like them, as nothing like this has ever been created before. For those of you who are wondering where these holsters go, they go exactly right here. They fit in the ball and socket joint as so. So there you have it, folks. We have all the Blade Guard veterans unboxed and reviewed. So let's wrap up real quick, see what my final thoughts are. All right, folks, I have to apologize to you, mainly because I know it can be pretty exhausting hearing a person keep judging something over and over again and criticize things over and over again. But I have to give you unfiltered content, and what I was reviewing to you with all the painting issues is exactly as such. There are some painting issues that are involved with all these models, and I want everybody to be completely clear about what they are getting themselves into. You're definitely not getting a perfectly pristine action figure, such as maybe like the Bandai one is the closest one I can think of. Those are probably the cleanest action figures that I have ever reviewed in my life. Unfortunately, that Gravis armor one is $250, which is well above the range of a lot of people. So we are down to this range, which is around $60 to $75 for each model. And I think that, again, JoyToy could be doing a lot better of a job than what they're doing right now, especially with the paintings. You saw with the storm shields, they're pretty messy. The uneven highlighting on the pouches, they're pretty messy too. But regardless, as you see the action figures here from a distance, they look pretty damn gorgeous. And I'm sitting here admiring them on this carousel rotating over and over again. They do really look awesome in my opinion. Blade Guard are my favorite group and unit inside of the Warhammer 40K universe. And I think JoyToy did an awesome job of replicating the Games Workshop miniatures down to the finest level of detail. This is unprecedented that we actually get action figures now. I have been in the Warhammer universe since 1990 something. I think it was like 1998. And we never had something this large that we could actually, I guess, play with and put our hands on. That's not a miniature. So it's awesome that Games Workshop has reached out to JoyToy to actually collaborate and get these figures for us. We do actually expect a lot better. I expect a lot better, especially that these aren't crackerjack toys. You're spending a good amount of money on them, and we demand quality and we demand better. So overall, I have to say, looking at them from a distance here, they look absolutely phenomenal. They're going to look even better when I put them in my display case. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this review, everybody, and I hope to see you all in the next one.